Betting on yourself is probably one of the most underrated, undervalued, but also the hardest investment that you could ever do. And it's simply because whenever you're behind the camera, you're not with a group of friends, you're not around anybody else, you truly know what you're made of. You know who you are deep down, and you know if you really have the ability to make the things happen that you want to happen. And the good news is that like if you clicked on this video, that means you are wanting to bet on yourself. You are wanting to achieve something at a higher level, and that can be worked on. Because I know for me, like just my business, entrepreneurship, trading journey has been going on since 2019, and quite frankly, it hasn't been the easiest. Things just didn't click. Anytime that maybe I would turn a corner on something, I was just immediately met with friction, and I had to figure out how to come up with a solution to those problems that I was going through. But in that time and in that that path that I had went down, it let me know that maybe I was on the right path. The way that I like to kind of think about this is like if you're walking through a field and you're walking down a path and that path just seems so easy, you're just knocking things out left and right. There's no like hurdles that you have to jump over. Maybe you're on somebody else's path. Maybe that's not the path for you. And maybe the path that you're supposed to be on is maybe just a couple steps to the left or maybe a couple steps to the right. I know that's been my journey right there. Is anytime, like I said, anytime that I had turned that corner because I just made it through a massive hurdle, it's like I was instantly having tripping over another log that was in the path that maybe I just didn't see. And it really required me to dig deep within myself to continue to work on these solutions to the problems, work on my mindset, work on getting myself to a mentally healthy place. Because there have been times where my mental has just been completely off, and then all of the progress I made has just been completely wiped away simply because I just wasn't in the right mindset. And I think that's one of the things that I overlooked for a long time is that like, oh yeah. Everyone talks about you got to have a good mindset. You got to have great psychology whenever it comes to this thing. And I was just like, that is just so BS. Like, either like this is the things, especially in trading, things are so situational. Things are so systematic to how you do things. And so for me, like the thought of like, oh man, I got to make sure my mental is like spot on. It's just like, yeah, whatever. Like I'm just giving myself another hurdle to climb over for no reason whenever I could just figure out a strategy, use that strategy, and then I would just be completely fine. That was definitely not the case, right? Because the moment that I figured out my strategy, the moment I figured out, repeatable patterns in the market that I saw, that I personally was seeing every day, and then I was able to kind of capitalize and take advantage of those patterns, and then be able to bring myself from like a break even state to a profitable state, I was met with a lot of friction. And that friction was maybe it was a little bit of ego, it could have been ego, but I mean that I feel like the killing a trader's ego is maybe a different video, a different time, a different place for that. But maybe I was met with a little bit of ego that I had to overcome. But I would say the friction that I was met with was the mental aspect of it, because whenever I hit that place of profitability, I like immediately started moving the goalpost of like, okay, well, what's next? Instead of just enjoying like the time that it took me to get from like learning the skill set, like learning what a candlestick was, then going through all of the strategies that just didn't make sense to me, and then pulling pieces out of strategies that did make sense to me to create like one ultimate strategy that I could use every single day. Then after all of the testing that I did with that, I finally found myself in a place of like, oh my god, I'm making money every single week now. Like there's never really a week that I'm not making money. And so then that was really weird for me because that's not what I was used to. And then trading actually just got super boring. because I was just sitting there trading my patterns. And so then I had to overcome of like trying not to do too much, and that's the ego part of like trying not to do too much, not trying to just like add more contract size or add more sizing to my position, and kind of figure out maybe some cash flow vehicles that I could use within trading, to kind of just like help support, that kind of thing. And so being at a place to where like you achieve like this massive goal, right? You achieve your massive goal. The thing that comes after that is the psychology piece. Is, do you still continue to have the desire to go and reach that next level of whatever that next level looks like? I know for me, one of the things that I've been putting off is making these types of videos to post on YouTube. Whether or not it's reaching thousands of people or not, maybe I'm reaching another person who's just like me, where you've hit a place of profitability and then it's like, what's next? And that's one of the things that I've really learned over the last, maybe 6 months to a year, somewhere in there, of like, there doesn't always just have to be like a what's next. Like, be proud of the progress that you've made up to this point, because like, this isn't easy. Like, the financial markets isn't easy. Like, I know my hairline has been pushed back a little bit because of the stress that it's really, the stress that I didn't need to place on myself is the stress that I did place on myself that caused, my mental just to completely go bad. It caused, for my hair to start thinning. And it was just simply because I was so focused on the outcome. And the outcome for me was just being a full-time trader. Like, I just thought that was going to be the coolest thing ever, to just be like, I'm a full-time trader, like, quite honestly, whenever people ask me what I do, I try not to tell them about what I do, because then we always get the same questions of like, well, like, what's the best stock to trade? What's the best investment? And like, the only thing that I can tell them is like, I'm not a financial advisor. Like, I know what I can risk and like what I'm trying to build. I have no idea anything about what it is that you're trying to build or what you're trying to do, because like, quite honestly, a lot of those people are just looking to make a quick buck. But you and I know that's watching this video right now is like, making a quick buck, just like it's kind of unheard of. It's kind of unheard of. It's like, it's not a thing. But what I usually tell them is just like, invest in the things that you value the most, right? And I think that has like such a bigger meaning outside of just like, buying Apple, buying Tesla, maybe putting money in the S&P 500. It goes deeper than that, because like, the one thing that this skill set really does is that, one, you get to invest in yourself. You get to become a better person, and that's one of the things that I'm telling traders within the Scalper Society, is that like, hey, you're investing in a skill set. You're not investing to just make more money. Like, this is a skill set that changes you personally. It exposes you to things about yourself that you were unaware of. For me, with me, the things that I was kind of unaware of was like impulsivity. I didn't realize how impulsive of a person I was. Not being disciplined enough to make the right financial decisions. And the discipline part was the one thing that I worked on first. And then the other thing, just being patient to get to my over outcome. Because like, the one thing that I said at the beginning of this video, like, there's been so many times I've gotten to like the tip of like trying to get to where I was, or trying to get to where I want to be, and then like, everything would just crumble apart. And so then I really had to work on the patience piece. And so like, once I really got those two big things, then all of a sudden that's where like the impulsivity hit me of like, oh, I got to do things bigger. I got to do things better. I got to do things faster, that kind of thing, just because I have this baseline. Instead of just like compounding and building my baseline, it was like, no, let's go from this baseline to like this baseline. And so the impulsivity is like what killed me for the longest time. And so then I've had to like kind of reel that back in and try to figure that out. And so those are just like, for my prime examples, like, those are just things that you don't realize that you struggle with until you start trading. And so, like I said, that's what I'm telling, some of the traders in Scalper Society is like, hey, like, you're gonna struggle with these things. Like, you're building a skill set. Like, this isn't a skill set that somebody can just take away from you, is what I'm trying to say. Like, you learn the skill set, this skill set will pay you for life. And now, whether or not you want to do it at a full-time level, part-time level, or if you just want to make some long-term investments, it doesn't matter, right? Because everybody's so different. Trading is so situational. The situation that I went through versus what you went through are going to be completely different, right? So for me, I wanted more time freedom within my life. But what does that require? It requires a higher income type of skill set that, I can do day to day to day to day, without having to, like work a 9 to 5 or start some business on the side or do something else. It required me to have a little bit more of like a higher income, but with the higher income skill set becomes a larger learning curve. And I think that learning curve is why most traders quit, because they get to a point of like, why is this even worth it? And I don't know how many times I've been at that place of like, why am I doing what I'm doing? I am absolutely sick and tired of this. I'm just, because I'm not to where I want to be, and it always came back to that outcome thing. But once you hit that place in the learning curve, and then you kind of like start to plateau a little bit, I think that's where the magic happens. Because I think what a lot of people, they just like, if you think of an equity curve, right? An equity curve is going up, but I think like your learning curve is going up and then it plateaus, and then that's where people really make the decision of like, I don't want to do this anymore, or I'm going to continue doing this, and then it starts trickling up. And so then like once I hit that place where like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore, because I was in that phase for a while of like, I'm kind of tired of doing this, because I'm tired of just like being exposed, honestly. Because it goes back to the hurdles, it goes back to the path of like, you turn a corner and you're hit by something else, right? You can only take that so many times. But the one big thing that, kind of overarching here is just like the ability to bet on yourself and continue to do that at a high level is what's going to bridge your gap from where you are to where you want to be, right? And so that's the biggest thing, that it's just like, if you're struggling, like if you're in that place in your learning curve of like where you're kind of plateauing, or you're like, I'm tired of losing money and I just can't figure it out, it's too complicated. Well, then one, I have a free Discord down below, and you can always click the link and join that. Or you can just continue to bet on yourself, because you know what to do. And then that's the thing about it, is like everybody knows what to do. It's just, can you continue to do it day after day after day after day? And so that's one of the things that we do in Scalper Society. And I'll go ahead and leave the Scalper Society link down below. And that's one of the things that we like to do, is like we like to just try to help build your internal foundation, because like I can't help you with the external foundation. Like that's up to you. Like I could show you the hows on how to do everything, but you have to be the one to like actually make that happen for you, if that makes sense. So my job, as of right now, my job is, whenever I wake up in the mornings, is to put myself in the best headspace possible. That's my number one priority. That's my number one job, right? If I can put myself in the best headspace possible, then I can be the best version of myself for my wife, my 2 kids. And then moving on from that, the next priority after that is making sure that I get my daughter to school. And then after that priority, now it's showing up at the desk and making sure I'm still in that best headspace possible in order to make the best financial decisions that I need to make in order to hit my daily goals, hit my weekly goals, whatever it is that I'm shooting for. And so that's that whole one part right there, that whole one job of just making sure I'm in the best headspace possible is what compounds, not only compounds the capital within the trading account, but also compounds me in trying to do things at a higher level so I can get to a place of where I'm trying to go. I hope I didn't ramble too much in this video. I just had so many thoughts going on. A lot's happening just in the personal life as well. So I hope I didn't ramble too much, and I hope that you were able to at least pick out something out of this video that you can take and you can implement into your life, into your trading journey. And I will see you guys in the next video.